All right, welcome back live at Drew's house. Another edition. Hope everybody's doing okay up out there, flying through January. Unbelievable. Hope everybody's safe and all that good stuff. Let's take you up to Vermont now. What do you say? We haven't got up there in a while. I am going to be joined by a first-time guest on the show, the head coach of UVM men's basketball. I've talked with him before, never like this, virtually. John Becker. How are you, John? Thanks for coming on the show.
Thank you so much. I'm doing well.
Doing well, and I imagine that this is a basketball season unlike any other for you and your Vermont Catamounts.
Yeah, it's definitely been challenging, like for everyone in athletics, pro or college. But yeah, it's been challenging, and I've been so impressed with our student athletes and the student athletes from all the teams in our league, and just rolling with it. And, so it's exciting to get to play another weekend of games here, hopefully this weekend.
I'm sure there was some doubt in your mind that this season would happen at all at one point, right?
Yeah, no, we canceled the non-conference schedule up here, because, the pandemic continued to be an issue and continue to grow. And so it was in the balance there for a while. I thought our league did a great job of kind of going to a format where we played the same team back to back at one, alternating home and away, and kind of gave us a chance to have a season. And so it's been unique. It's been like college hockey where we play on Saturday and Sunday. So you have all week to prepare for one opponent. And so just learning how to function and hopefully thrive in a new format to the season. And, and then and around all of the protocols that we're, adhering to.
I watched the NHL hockey season kicked off this week, and I've been watching some of the college, and a lot of the hockey guys I noticed say, really once they drop the puck, the game moves so fast that really the lack of fans, you don't really feel it as much at the hockey level. I imagine that's a lot different for basketball. I mean, home court advantage is such a part of that game. You can tell when teams are rattled by it, when they can feel it. Do you agree? I mean, it's noticeable out there.
Yeah, and especially our home court advantage at Patrick Gym. We sell out every game. The fans are right on the court, and it's a huge, huge deal for us. And we've been really, really good, and especially really good at home. And so I feel it a lot more at home, and we have, we've kind of split the games at home. We have another opportunity this weekend against Maine for 2 more home games, but learning how to, play in a quiet Patrick Gym, I think has maybe been the hardest thing we've had to deal with as far as the games go.
What have you asked more of your bench? I mean, do you have to do that? I noticed the benches are really playing a role. You got to get loud, guys, got to support your team. Is that an actual conversation you guys have, or do players just realize that has to happen?
I mean, it is, that's something we've always been really good, our bench, and has always been really into it and really close-knit team. But, there's been a couple times this year for the first time I felt like I have been addressing that. Just because, when we're facing some adversity in games, that's when you start to realize how important the fans are, and they kind of get our bench going. And so they've got to, really do a better job when we hit some adversity, things aren't going our way. And we've adjusted, and the guys have done a good job.
There are down moments, I don't know, whether it's before a game, during the pregame, or maybe not after a game. I'd imagine these talks happen pregame, but where you speak to maybe the coach on the other sideline and you're just like, this is crazy, man. We're playing basketball in a pandemic and we're making it work.
Yes, I think every coach is going through the same thing, and we have it's a close-knit community to begin with, the coaching fraternity. We all understand what each other goes through more than anyone else. And certainly with this, every coach I've talked to and certainly competed against, it's actually nice to talk to them and at least feel each other's pain for a minute before the game. And but it's certainly, that vibe is definitely, we don't even need to say it. We understand it, and just try to support each other for a couple minutes before we try to beat each other's brains in.
Absolutely. Joined here by John Becker, head coach of UVM basketball. Take me back to last year, because let's face it, March Madness is such a part of of everybody's life. Every sports fan loves March Madness. You don't even have to be that big of an NCAA basketball fan. I mean, people just love the brackets. Everybody gets involved. And for the world to just kind of stop like that, and it's just not going to happen. What is your thought? I mean, you've played in how many tournaments now? You're in the tournament every year, it seems like. What?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, we've been 5 times. You know, the program's been 8 times actually, and I've been 3 times last year. Hopefully, would have been the 4th time. And but yeah, we've been in that championship game. You know, 8 out of my 10 years, and so we've been right there on the cusp of it a bunch of times. But yeah, that was really surreal. You know, I mean, the virus had kind of started the week before. Hearing about it, no one really knew how to respond to it. You know, we played the semifinal game at home against UMBC, and it ends up a couple of the refs, you know, we find out had tested positive. And so leading into that, you know, that was on a Tuesday. So Wednesday and then into Thursday was touch and go. No one really knew what to do. And then Thursday night is when Rudy Gobert and the Jazz and I was sitting at home watching it live, and it kind of, that's when everything kind of changed dramatically. And within 24 hours, our championship game had been canceled. The NCAA tournament had been canceled that Friday afternoon, the Big East. And some of the high major conference tournaments that were just getting started pulled their teams off the court. And so that was devastating. You know, it was scary at the time. We just didn't know as much as we know now about the virus and how to contain it and precautions that we could take. And so, you know, it was just, it was scary, surreal, so much unknown, and then really sad for our players who, we were the #1 seed and we were playing a championship game at home, and, you know, felt really good about our chances. And, you know, we had a senior on our team, Anthony Lamb, who was 2-time player of the year and maybe the best player ever play at Vermont. And, you know, we had beat St. John's earlier in the year. We felt that maybe this was the year that we could make a little bit deeper run into the tournament. And for all that, you know, over a 48-hour period kind of come to an end was hard for our guys. But, you know, to everybody's credit, we understood it was the right thing to do and the only thing to do. So it was one of those things. And I talk to our guys all the time about just controlling what we could control. We couldn't control this one. And so we just had to, you know, not feel sorry for ourselves and just kind of now start the process of doing our part to keep everyone safe and follow the rules.
And just one more from last year. What is that like when you have a senior like that? You know, I'm sure you love all your seniors, but obviously some are just people that have made themselves real parts of the program over long periods of time. So many teams were in that boat, having to tell seniors it's over abruptly, just like that. Must have been brutal.
Yeah, it was really hard. I mean, what was amazing was that, you know, and we had 3 other seniors, and that were all really big parts of our program too, but certainly Anthony was the marquee guy. And it was amazing. They almost made me feel better, you know, with the way that they handled the situation, the maturity, the perspective. And, you know, but I think it wasn't until months later, and we were now in the middle of the pandemic where, you know, you start to wonder what if, and then, you know, then it's like, I felt worse almost months later, thinking about what might've been and feeling what those guys must've been going through now that they were, you know, back home, stuck in their houses, in a pandemic, just like everybody else. And I'm sure the frustration of the whole situation, you know, I'm sure there's not a day goes by they don't think about, you know, what would have happened.
Yeah, I imagine. And, you know, I think about this often. I mean, you know, just playing pickup ball down at my local gym, the idea that I haven't been able to do that for however many months now, you realize how big a part of your life the game is, you know, like yeah. I'll never take another pickup basketball game for granted in my entire life, you know?
Yeah, no, I mean, I think that's, if there are some silver linings to this situation, which I'm not sure there are, but if there are, one of them will be not taking for granted the things that you know, like you said, pick up basketball, gathering with friends, going out to dinner, having people to your house, you know, and just I think everyone's really bored right now. Everyone's doing, you know, at least in Vermont, everyone's doing a good job of adhering to the safety protocols and wearing masks and socially distancing and really just staying at home. And, you know, I get texts from people all the time, you know, my friends here that, you know, I haven't seen in a while, and just how bored they are, or just looking for things to do. And that's no different than any of us. But fortunately for me and for our current team, we get to go to practice and we get to, you know, compete and play basketball. And for that, thank God, because, you know, and it's given me a new appreciation perspective. I've actually had, you know, once I've kind of settled into this, you know, over the last couple of weeks, I tell people, I just talked to my AD last night, it's been as enjoyable a 2 weeks of coaching that I've had, and the appreciation and kind of putting it in perspective, not, you know, competing, you know, and really taking the losses hard and the wins celebrating, but still just getting to be with the guys and be with my coaches and have a common goal and sharing that with other people. I'm really thankful for that.
Is there an aspect within your team when it comes to staying safe and, you know, making sure everybody's doing the right thing because you affect the next person next to you? Is there like an added responsibility there? Because like you said, people are bored at home, and in a lot of ways being able to watch your games is just, it's such a big thing for people. A little bit of normalcy. I get to sit down and watch a basketball game. This is nice. I know I feel it a lot. And I just wonder, is there an added pressure on you guys? Do you feel that responsibility, that privilege that, you know what, we're out here playing and this is affecting a lot of people?
Yeah, absolutely. And the players and the coaches, the sacrifices that, you know, we're making to a degree, and the players have been, my players have been back on campus since the end of July. They didn't go home for Thanksgiving. They didn't go home for Christmas. They've essentially been quarantined. You know, it was a little bit of rocky start there in July and August of them, you know, adhering to the rules strict. You know, they were, you know, like any 18 to 22-year-old kids, were distracted and thought that they were, some of the stuff didn't apply to them. But once we got that straightened out, you know, in August, these guys have done an amazing job of really quarantining for the last, you know, 3-4 months, either in the gym or at home, and not going home for holidays. You know, it's been challenging for them and difficult, but you know, it's worth it that we get to try to do this. But they're making a lot of sacrifices, and we've had to come to some understanding that we do have that responsibility if we want to do this. And, you know, earlier, before the season started, we had a lot of meetings where it was just like, hey, if we want to opt out of this thing, if it just is going to be something that we can't maintain, then that's fine. We can do that. And some teams have done that, and some teams are continuing to do that kind of mid-year. But the guys were committed to this, and part of being committed to it was, all right, we've got to do more than other people, as far as you know, the responsibility of really being in quarantine full time.
Two things on the 18 to 20-year-olds. One, how do you straighten that out when you have things that you're seeing that, okay, we got to crack down on that. There's going to be none of that. And two, have you had issues when traveling? Because, I mean, you're going to be going to a lot of different buildings here, playing on the road. And I just wonder, I'm sure on the road is a whole different environment, different states, different communities, treating the virus differently, maybe strict, less strict. How are you going to deal with that? Yeah,
so how we dealt with it when we had some issues early was just, you know, the same way I handle any issue, that they're not, you know, living up to my expectations or the expectations, you know, of our program. And so, you know, there was some some Zoom meetings, and we got it straightened out, and to the guys' credit, we straightened that out. And that was just a coach's job, so to speak, a teacher's job. And so, but then as far as the protocols we're adhering to and how it relates to the road, every team in our league tests 3 times a week. And so you cannot leave for a road game unless all of your tests have come back and everything is negative. Negative. And then, in Vermont, we've worked closely with the Department of Health, who's been really, really tremendous. And so there's some things. So we're taking 4 road trips this year in league and 5. So we have 4 weekends on the road, 5 at home. And the 4 weekends on the road, if it's within 4 hours, we have to leave the day of the game on the first game to prevent going the night before, which we usually would, staying in a hotel. Obviously, we stay in a hotel the night between the 2 games. But now we've limited our exposure in a hotel by half. And then the schools that we're going to are adhering to the same protocols that we are. And so there's no fans at any of our games when we get to these arenas. It's a very sterile and controlled environment. We're getting our temperature checked anytime we come in to the gym, to an opposing team's gym, same as they will do when they come here. And so it's pretty, controlled, sterile environment. And so in some ways, it's safer than almost anywhere else, because everyone that you're interacting with is getting tested the same way, and thus probably quarantining just as you are, basically. I think the biggest factor may be the refs, who come, but we get the same reffing crew for both games, and so, and they're, being tested. So it's a really pretty safe environment. And that might be the biggest challenge, having the same refs both games. You gotta watch yourself there the first day.
The refs are always a challenge in some way, aren't they?
I love refs.
Well said. I had a high school coach on the other day who told me, he goes, I got to be honest with you, I think I'm getting away with a lot more because they're not hearing some of the stuff under my breath with the mask on, no lip readers.
Yes, exactly. Yes, it definitely helps.
You agree with that? Okay, very good.
Yeah.
Again, joined here by John Becker, UVM basketball coach. Couple things, Coach. I know it goes against everything you probably believe in, one game at a time, all that stuff, but I'm sure you've thought a little bit. UVM, no stranger to postseason play, tournament play. I'm sure you've thought a little bit about Indianapolis and the NCAA tournament. What do you think about that, just moving the whole thing there?
Yeah, I think it's again, reading some of the stuff, and I don't try to dig too deep into it because I feel like everything's going to change. It's such a fluid situation, but it's not going to be the like when you go to the NCAA tournament, it's just the accommodations, the charters, the shoot around practices with all the media and all the media coverage, and it's like it's unbelievable. And, I think this year's NCAA tournament's not going to be quote unquote as fun or glamorous, or it's going to be pretty strict, and it sounds like, so I think it gives it's the safest way to do it, gives it the best opportunity to be pulled off. And in a lot of ways, will be interesting and neat to have all the teams in one location, as opposed to, spread out all over the country. So you're really only maybe interacting or experiencing the teams that are in your pod at that location. So, it might be in that sense a little bit nicer, although we probably won't be able to see each other at all because we'll all be basically in our hotel rooms until the game starts. And so, so I think it's going to be, very business-like, and try to churn through it and get the thing done and through, so I think it's going to be a very different experience, but still what the goal is. And we got a long way to go and really haven't put much thought into it. Like you said, it's not necessarily coach speak. We've got a lot of work to do to kind of build towards that, and we have the chance to do that. And we have a lot of work between now and then that I'm really excited to get to, and we're in the process of. And once we start getting towards into February and that, and it, as long as everything holds, so to speak, and that becomes something that's going to definitely happen. Hopefully, we're in a position to try to do that. But we don't even really have a conference tournament situation lined out yet. Though that's kind of the thing that I'm more interested in before any of us worry about the NCAA tournament.
You put together so many great teams. You talk about that circus of March Madness usually. Just in normal times, how much fun is it? Because, I enjoy rooting for you guys just, being from the Northeast. I think you gain a lot of that support, people around Boston talking about, UVM, you know what? You're going to root for UVM tonight. Let's hope they can, pull down one of the juggernauts. And it just, you get a lot of the country support too. It's like, here's a small school going up against the powerhouse. And it always feels to me, it's one of the things that makes NCAA basketball so cool, is rooting for that underdog in those brackets and getting a chance at the big name school. You guys must feel that. It must be a blast, NCAA tournament time.
Yeah, for all the obvious reasons, but certainly for us, it's, certainly it's the first time since January 1st that we're like an underdog, so it's like the first time there's no, we've been picked to win our league 5 years in a row in the preseason. So with that comes the weight of expectations that are very real. And, we've been really good and been to the tournament a bunch, like you mentioned. And that's really cool. People get to know us, because they, fortunately we've been in it enough where they get familiar with some of the players or maybe with the coaches and with the history of our program. And so that's really neat to have that kind of support. And certainly when we played Hartford, in Hartford against Florida State, the last time we were in 2019, the whole crowd was for us. That was like the coolest thing. And we almost pulled it off. But for us and for the player, it's almost like a relief, we're expected to win it. And so every game in conference play, we're expected to win. And then certainly, there's no more pressure on anyone, any coach or team, than a one bid league conference tournament, and being the number one seed. There, in general, there's a lot of pressure, but being the number one seed in a one bid league conference tournament, there's no pressure like that. And you can hear Jay Wright talk about that when he was at Hofstra or any coach that's been in that situation. And so, so when we have got to the NCAA tournament, it's the first time, usually in 2 months that we can feel like, all right, there's no pressure on us this game. We are the clear underdog, and our expectations are to win the game, no doubt. And we have that pressure, but that's a very different pressure than everybody in the fans, in the media, wherever, alumni expecting you to win. And, we were fortunate we've been able to perform through a lot of that, but the NCAA tournament usually for me is like, I get to enjoy this, and let's try to figure out, enjoy being the underdog and figure out how to pull an upset or two off. And so for me, it's usually, that's the experience that I really enjoy.
You come across as a very kind of laid back guy. Put me in that final huddle, 5 minutes to go, whether it be Florida State or some of the big wins you've had over the years. Hartford's going crazy for you. It's stressful moments. What's that final huddle like? That final media timeout, and you're trying to get your guys to believe, we can win this game, that sort of thing. What's that like, being in that huddle?
Yeah, in the NCAA tournament, and then when we played Florida State, Purdue, we beat Lamar in the first four my first year, and then played North Carolina and Greensboro. So, playing the Blue Bloods, playing the teams with multiple NBA players and stuff, I get to coach in a very, just a positive way, and just encouraging our guys and just making them believe, and obviously making tactical decisions. But it's all where during the season, and when we're the favorite, and when an underdog is beating us or competing. It's a very different thing where it's like, they can feel probably my anxiety more in those times because usually if we're losing, it's because we're not performing to our capabilities. And then usually the couple losses we've had in league over the years, it's usually, the other team just plays great, and that's going to happen, makes a bunch of threes. But when you're in it, it's a very different experience. So in the NCAA tournament, playing these really, really good coaches, really great coaches with great teams and NBA players, it's just trying to get them to believe and usually at the end of the game, we're pretty worn out. We're usually battling this enormous size at every position. So I'm just trying to implore our guys to find a little bit more energy and just keep fighting.
John Becker, UVM, you've had enormous success, as we've talked about. 10 years at one place in this day and age. And then go back to your assistant days too. I mean, it's quite a run you're putting together here. And with your success, I would imagine you've at least had some talks about people maybe reaching out to you. UVM, the place you always want to be, and you're just comfortable there, or have you had any thoughts about moving on somewhere else?
Yeah, I mean, I love Vermont. I'm a loyal guy. I mean, I'm not, I came from nothing as far as the coaching world and Division III guy. I didn't really play college and I got an opportunity here, and I took over a great situation that Tom Brennan and Mike Lonergan really, laid a great foundation, and I've been blessed with great assistant coaches, and we've been able to build something really special and really good and gotten great support from my administration. And so I'm really focused on building Vermont to and continuing to build Vermont. We have an arena coming, and there's a lot of positive stuff here. And but obviously, there's a limit to mid majors and things like that as far as what they can do from a resource standpoint. And so I have an agent, and he can kind of evaluate those situations and opportunities when they come. And but I'm really, really happy. I love my program. I love the kids I'm able to recruit. This awesome blend of academic-based kids and, that come here because of the winning and want to be part of something. And we've been able to get some really good transfers the last couple of years who maybe played a smaller role at a higher school, but want to come and be a bigger part of a championship level team. And we've really found a nice rhythm. And I like winning, and I'm in this to win championships. And so, I'll never say never. And certainly, but I let my agent worry about that. And really, I try to really keep distractions down. And I know there's other coaches that enjoy that process of being courted or looking for the next job and maybe I should be more like that. But that's not just who I am. I really, I'm committed to my team and making sure I give everything I have to help them be successful and keep distractions down. And I just live a very, hermit type existence during the season where it's just try to just keep distractions aside and focus on my season and make sure I'm rested. I have the energy and the focus to give to to give to the program, just like I expect everyone in my program to do the same. So who knows? It's nice of you to mention that. It's nice of people to write about me that way or mention me for this, that, or the other thing. But a lot of that stuff you read in the media, doesn't really happen. And some stuff that they don't even know about does happen. So it's just, it's fun, I guess, for other people to worry about, or my parents to worry about, or my brothers. But for me, it's just, I love Vermont. I love the opportunity they give me. I love the program that we built that we've grown. And I'm really excited about, this year's team and the path that we're on right now.
Burlington, Vermont, beautiful place in the world, right?
Oh, it sure is. And I have a great group of friends here. And I have a great life. This has worked out. When I moved up here 15 years ago to take a ops job with Mike Lonergan for $7,000 and no benefits with a wife and 2 kids, this, there was a hope and a plan, or one or the, but this has worked out better than I could have ever imagined, for sure.
Quite the. I know that's always a gamble when you're doing that, and yes, worked out well. Rapid fire, final minute. I always get to meet the man a little bit here. First thing that comes to mind: best player you ever coached?
Anthony Lamb.
All right, Anthony Lamb. There you go. Big honor for Anthony Lamb to get that. Favorite musician?
Jerry Garcia.
Big Deadhead, huh? A lot of that that in Vermont, I would.
Yeah, I fit right in up here. Trust me.
Favorite movie?
Ooh, that's a hard one. Catch Me If You Can.
Oh, I like that one. Tom Hanks. Favorite television show?
Seinfeld.
Nice. Favorite quarantine activity?
Working out.
Biggest, toughest game you ever played? The one when you think about was a grind for 40 minutes. You can almost remember every play. What was it?
It's definitely a loss. Probably it's actually a win. Probably the championship win in 2017 at home versus Albany. We were 18-0 that year. We went up against an Albany team that we'd handled pretty well in the regular season, and we're down basically the whole game. And then Kurt Steidel, our kind of our 3-point shooting wing, our 3-and-D guy, made an unbelievable 3 in transition to pull within 3. Then made a corner 3 to tie the game. And then in the an iconic play in Vermont basketball history, kind of the last play of the game, Trey Bell Haynes, who's probably the most important player to ever play for me, and 2-time player of the year, found Peyton Henson for a layup, an and one layup, and we ended up winning that game. Albany's always been kind of our nemesis, and finish year 19-0, which has never been done in our conference, and obviously will never be maybe duplicated, but never topped.
I told you you'd remember every play. I knew you'd remember every play.
Well, there's another play too at the end where we still we got to stop, and then Anthony Lamb, who was a freshman at that point, decided to throw a full length of the court, full court pass against their pressure. They got picked off. That was, I was kicking myself why I had a freshman taking the ball out in that situation, especially the one with the confidence Anthony Lamb had to throw that pass. So we pulled it off. But, that was one where I was talk about pressure, being 18-0 and trying to finish off 19-0 against your arch rival who had beat you in a bunch of championship games, who we've beaten. But, we split, I think, in championship games like 3-3 against each other at that point. To have them as the underdog come in loose and, a little bit undermanned as far as what we had going on that year. And to just feel like, oh, shit, I can't believe this is going to happen. And the guys made huge plays, and thank God.
Non-pandemic, toughest building to play in?
In our league, probably the toughest place to play. Albany has this homecoming thing, purple growl they call it, where they and that's probably, we always seem to play on that game. They always seem to put that game on the date that we're at their gym, and so they put the football team right behind, right on top of our bench, and that's probably the toughest place in league to play. Binghamton actually has a great crowd and a great fan base up there. When they got it going well, that can be a really tough place to play too.
Speaking of venues, favorite concert venue?
I like small clubs. So like the 930 Club in DC. I lived in DC for a long time, was one of my favorite spots. The Higher Ground up here in Burlington is one of my favorite spots. And then, I grew up in Connecticut, and Madison Square Garden's always been a place that I like to go see any kind of entertainment, whether it's the Knicks or any multitude of concerts I've seen there. New York City is just the best for going somewhere and trying to have a good time.
Absolutely. So when we really want to hear you and get real thoughts on officiating some nights, we want to go find you at the higher ground. Then that's a good time to find.
Yeah, hopefully we can get back to seeing some live music. And that industry has just been devastated with the pandemic, and they sound like they might not be able to have concerts or live things like that, maybe until the fall. So make sure everyone gets out there and supports the arts once they come back, please.
Yeah, we have all sorts of independent musicians on this show all the time, and it is true. It is a battle, and they kind of don't fit into a box of a lot of assistants, and it's a tough spot to be in. You're right.
Yeah, it's a tough business, and there's very few that make a really good living off it. But this, during the pandemic, you realize there's nothing better than going to a live concert, and we need to make sure we go out and see our favorite musicians every time they're in your town.
I miss it. Won't take that for granted anymore either. John Becker, coach of UVM basketball in season. I really appreciate you taking the time. I know you're a busy man. I wish you and all the family and the teammates all the best and good health the rest of the way. All right?
Thanks, man.
All right. We'll talk to you soon.
All right. Peace.
All right. Pretty cool. John Becker, NCAA. I always say it's like Vermont in their conference tournament game. It's like if they're not in it, it's very strange. Unbelievable program he's put together out there. Just pretty cool. I thought it'd be fun to catch up with a Division I basketball coach that I know that's personable. And as you can see, he let you in on some really great insights about what it's like to be a college athlete these days. So that's that. The dogs are running in after me. That means that it's time to go and take them outside. Hey, great show, everybody. Enjoyed it. I just realized I'm kind of wearing Vermont colors, a tree. This is actually a golf shirt, but yeah, there you go. Worked out that way, huh? It was an accident. I didn't mean to. I hope everybody's doing all right out there. We'll see you next time. Be safe. Stay positive. We're going to get through the pandemic, all right? Crazy times to be alive. See you, everybody. Live at Drew's house, another edition. Bye-bye now.